Off the quick opening statement, please raise your hands for questions. Coach?
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Hey, just obviously thinking about this past weekend, hurts, stings. Very disappointed. Obviously, we didn't win that game, and going back and look at the game, I mean, it's similar to what I talked about post game as far as felt like we did a lot of things good enough to win the game. Turnovers obviously was a difference, and 17 points off the turnovers and 14 directly points. I mean, it's hard to get over that. But I think every week in this Big 12 conference, it's got tough battles. No matter who you're playing, these teams are all good enough to beat you, and you can't beat yourself, and that is for sure. And as we work in this week to Iowa State, I mean, you certainly can't have those mistakes. You will get beat. Iowa State's one of the best teams in the country in turnover margin, and we got to do a great job with that to have a chance to win this game. And I know. Our guys know that, and our coaches know that, and so we got to do a better job throughout the week preparing for that. I want to thank our fans. Last weekend, it was a great atmosphere. We had a bunch of recruits in last week. I think we had 4 or 5 of our committed guys that were here, had a couple other guys on official visits, and they loved it, was blown away by it. So, I mean, it obviously helps to continue to get us some great players in here, and, as we move toward the future. So we really just want to thank the fans for that. And, we're looking forward again this week. I mean, it's another tough game for us. An Iowa State team that a couple weeks ago was ranked 10th in the country, having to go play at their place, one of the toughest places to play in the Big 12 at night, again. And so, we're going to have a great week and a great, preparation for this game. Obviously, we're playing Iowa State in a defense that we hired Coach Vite from, so it gives us more, familiar with their defense, I think, having gone against it in the spring and in the summer. So certainly have a better idea about it, but they're still a great defense at Iowa State, one of the best in the Big 12. I think one of the top pass defenses in the country. And, the run defense, the last couple of weeks, they played some good run teams, thinking about Central Florida, Kansas last week, and then Texas Tech. I mean, 3 of the better run teams in the country, so I think those stats are a little skewed. Coach Campbell and his staff do an outstanding job. They have tough-minded kids that play hard, expect to win. So certainly it'll be a great challenge for us.
Coach, do you sit down with Brendan and watch those specific plays? And if you do, what's the conversation on? And obviously he's still young, he's still learning. How do you teach him through those moments?
Well, Coach Thomas, our quarterback coach, sits down with him and watches the plays. I mean, obviously, he don't need to see them again. We can talk to him about them. But I think more than anything for Brendan is, he's such a competitor. He tries to play his tail off every time he's out there. He tries to make every play work, which is a great trait. But it's also at times can get you in trouble. And I think I've seen that, in NFL. I've seen it in great college players that we've had over the years. There's a fine line there, and because defenses, are coached well, they have really good players. Sometimes they're going to be right, and sometimes you have to just take it as an offensive player and as a coach. And we don't like it, and he didn't. Swordsman doesn't like it, so he just fights to make a play. But at some point, and you can't. You just take the play, whatever it is. If it's a sack, you just take it. If it's if you make a bad read or not handing the ball off, just take it. Or if we got a pass play called, or maybe we are trying to take a shot. Hey, it's not there. Just throw it away, as opposed to trying to go make a play. And I think that's where quarterbacks that are competitive, it's a great thing, but it's also a curse at times. And it's just learning that when to just eat it. And it's a fine line, because there's been times this year where I was like, just go down, and then all of a sudden, first down or a touchdown. I mean, he's had some great plays with that. So, but it's just trying to learn the difference of when just to get out.
Was that one of the reasons you picked him or got him out of the portal run?
Yeah.
Because last year 5 interceptions, this year 5, counting last week.
Mm-hmm.
He really doesn't throw that many.
No.
He's thrown a lot more passes this year than last year.
Yeah, that's right. No, I mean, was early in the year we went. I don't know how many games we hadn't thrown interception until Texas Tech, I think. And one of the reasons we loved him, when we watched his film, was how competitive he was and how much passion that he played with. I love that. We don't ever want to lose that. So, but again, it comes to experience, and knowing when just to take the play and and not try to force anything. And I think that's what it comes down to. So, but I love his passing. He'll keep playing hard. I mean, he's going to keep playing like that. You just got to do a better job with the decision making.
In the last 5-game stretch, have you seen a different attitude or mindset from your guys at all that might have led to losing 3 games?
No, I don't think so. I think, man, I mean, take away the 2 plays that they scored on. Like, to me, we may win by 2 touchdowns in that game because, you know, we're up 7. It's 4th and 1. If, you know, even if we, you know, don't get it, our defense was playing great. You get the ball back, you go score again. I mean, it's going to change the whole landscape of the game. We're down 3. You know, right there, in my mind, our kids' mind, we're going to win the game right here. We'll take all this time up and we'll go win the game. We just got a first down. It was, you know, I think, you know, we went to Colorado and played a good team there, a team that may, you know, compete and may win the Big 12. We don't know. On the road at Colorado. I mean, I think we lost at 1 point at Pitt. We lost to a field goal at Texas Tech, who's a good football team. So, I mean, I think over the course of the season, our guys have played some really good football at times. I think, you know, where we have struggled to win is the mistakes. I think, you know, whether it be a turnover here or, you know, a missed assignment there, I think that's kind of been the difference. I think our guys have played hard really the whole year. I think probably the worst game we had as far as energy level would have been in Colorado. I don't, you know, maybe it was the time, maybe it was a lot of things involved with that, but, you know, to me, didn't feel like the same kind of energy on the field, but I thought we came right back here and had great energy, you know, Saturday. So, I just think, you know, you got to make the plays, and you can't shoot yourself in the foot.
The deep ball last year against them, had you hit that initial one, that could have changed that game. Is it just not there recently?
No, I mean, I feel like, you know, we go back and watch the film, and, you know, there's a lot of the teams that we're playing are you know, if they're playing zone, they're playing back, they're giving you the underneath throws, you know, the 5 to 15 yard throws, and that's what we're taking. If we are getting some one-on-one matchups, you know, we haven't necessarily won on the outside. And I think, you know, we tried against Arizona State. We threw a pick down the sideline. We didn't win that. We threw a pick, and then almost threw another pick in that game, throwing the ball down the sideline. So we're getting a lot of one high closed middle, so, you know, it takes away some post throws, so you don't really get those. You know, so for whatever reason, we just have not had those down the field type throws in recent games. So, again, I don't necessarily really worry about that. I'd rather be high completion percentage, completing footballs. That means you're getting yards, you're ultimately getting first downs, and you're going down the field. I mean, you know, I'd love to. You know, we had an 80-yard touchdown pass, you know, Saturday. I mean, that's what they gave us. You know, we threw the ball probably 15 or 20 yards, but then it goes 80. I'm fine with that, you know, so just keep taking what they give us, and then, you know, hopefully we'll be able to get some yards.
You kind of mentioned earlier that Iowa State's pass defense is really strong.
Yeah.
Kiner had 91 yards last week. Of course, Evan Pryor had the 80-yard touchdown pass in the air. Do you think this offense could kind of run through Kiner and Pryor this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be good to, you know, I think, you know, both of those players are 2 of our better players on offense. You know, I think Corey just grinds out the yards, and I think he's second in the country right now in forced missed tackles behind Boise State's running back, so that's good. And Pryor's one of the best big play guys in the country with so many of these touchdowns over 50, 60 yards. And he can catch the ball in the backfield really, really nice. And so can Corey. I mean, I think he had several catches Saturday as well. So love to be able to work through those guys and let them get their touches and see what they can do. And hopefully we can get the run game going. I mean, obviously that helps you out tremendously if you can get that going. To try to open up some of the pass games, but Iowa State's done an outstanding job in pass defense. I mean, they got some real experience in the back end. Their 3 safeties have played a ton of football. Their corners are good. They got a corner that's 6'4" that can run, is long. Number 5 is a good player, played against us last year. So yeah, those 5 guys in the back end are outstanding pass defenders.
You talked about your defense being able to know their offense a little bit from Coach Veit. Do you concern yourself with the fact that their offense does essentially go against your defense on a regular basis?
Absolutely. You know, it's so they know the defense too, right? I mean, when they come in this weekend. So, and they have, you know, a ton of respect for their quarterback, Rocco. I mean, if you look at him and Sorsby stats, they're almost identical. I mean, it's amazing to me. Really, if you look at their offense and our offensive stats, they're identical. There's like 6 play difference out of 9 games. I think there's maybe 10 or 11 yards difference in total offense. We're 30th in the country, they're 29th. I mean, it is amazing the parallel offensively, and then obviously defensively when you think about two of the similar defenses. So, you know, it's almost like you're looking at a mirror, you know, when you're looking at these two teams. But Rocco's an outstanding quarterback. They got two great wide receivers. Number 13's, you know, they're a return guy, but he also is their big play pass guy. I mean, he's got great speed. Their other receiver's a longer guy that killed us last year. I mean, he's an outstanding player too. And they predominantly throw to those two guys, and I would too. I mean, they're two outstanding players. So yeah, their offense knows our defense and probably going to obviously know which ways to try to attack it.
Your history with Matt Campbell, and maybe I should know this, but were you ever on the same staff? Or?
We were, yeah. We were on the same staff at Toledo in 2009. You know, Matt's a great friend of mine who, even before that though, he used to come down and visit when I was at App State. He was at Mount Union. You know, they won many national championships there, and so we just, you know, got a friendship going there. And then I worked with them in 2009 at Tim Beckman's staff at Toledo. You know, and a lot of parallels with that. Our guys that were on our staff, out of our offensive staff in 2009, out of the 5 full-time coaches there, 4 of them are head coaches. Alec Golish at South Florida, Jason Cannell at Toledo, myself here, and then Matt at Iowa State. So it was a great offensive staff, great guys, and learned a lot from those guys. And so ever since then, I've kept in touch with Matt. I actually visited Iowa State when I was at App State back probably 6 years ago. Went up and visited in the spring, watched them practice, and just a tremendous amount of respect for how they do things and how they coach their players.
Coach, you briefly talked about Rocco moments ago. Just talk about the growth you've seen from him from last year as a freshman to this year now as a sophomore.
Yeah, just so much, I think, just poise and confidence in their offense and understanding what he needs to do because, you know, they'll run the football. They like to run the football, and they're good at it. You know, utilize their tight ends in a lot of different ways. They'll go under center. They'll go shotgun. He's just got a great knack for that. But I'll tell you what, he does throws a great catchable football, and he's very accurate. And when they need first down, maybe you cover everybody. Well, he's going to go scramble and just be very annoying to defenses because he goes and gets, 2 or 3 yards past the sticks and gets a first down. I just think he's a winner. I think a great game for that was the Central Florida game. Central Florida, was up on those guys and gave the ball back to him late in the game, and he took them, 80 yards down the field and scored a touchdown and won the game. Just so great poise. I mean, so he's certainly a player that. That is hard to contain because he can do both and just the way it has command of their offense.
Their game against Kansas, does that give you any confidence, or did you watch that and say, oh no?
Well, I watched that and I was very impressed by Kansas. I thought their quarterback the last couple of weeks, because we've had their offense apparently, whatever reason, he's played outstanding. They were ready to run the football. They could throw it. I mean, I feel like 90% of the plays they called worked. I mean, they were in it, and they were playing that game at Arrowhead, at Kansas, and so they played with a lot of confidence, and they blocked them. They just did a lot of good things, So, it's something good to look at for us to say, it can be done. You can move the ball on them. You got to block them. You got to be fundamentally sound, and you got to execute, and you got to take care of the football. But they did. They put a good blueprint out of some things that are going to be pretty good against them.
Coach Vite, he'll definitely help you on the field, but how important is he going to be for you guys off the field, having to travel on the road this week?
Yeah, I mean, he gives some great insight on having to go to Iowa State. Obviously spent a long time there, understands the environment. It's a great environment. It's a tough place to go win. They've won a ton of games there in Ames, and then, they have great crowd support. The field is not a good field. There's just no other way to say it. You go back and you watch it. I mean, for years you can watch it. Guys are slipping, and Texas Tech game, they're slipping all over the place. But it's both teams. It's not just the opponent. I mean, it's Iowa State. They're slipping as well. So, Coach Vite talked about that. Kind of what they got on their field. But I mean, they certainly need to look at what they can do to get a better field. I mean, it is slipping left and right. Maybe they like it like that. I don't know. Maybe that's a home field advantage to them, but. It's certainly something that we got to take some different kind of cleats and try to figure out which one's going to be the best ones to wear. You can't really prepare for that. We're practicing here in Nippert. I mean, we're turf. So you really can't prepare for that until you get out there and get in the pregame and see what we can put on.
Coach Campbell talked about this at Big 12 Media Days, just about Coach Vite's transition here to Cincinnati, and it seemed like, if I heard it right, he kind of helped in the process of getting him to be here as a DC.
He did.
What is it about, I guess, the coaching brotherhood that allows it to happen? Is that a rarity, or is that common throughout coaching?
Well, I think Coach Campbell has great respect for Coach White. I mean, he was with him for 2 years at Toledo, and then went with them over to Iowa State, and so was with them 8 years there. And he knew Coach White wanted to call the defense at some point. And their DC's been there with Matt the whole time. Didn't know if he's ever going to leave. He's done such a great job, and it was an opportunity, and we were looking for a DC. So, I talked to Matt, and Matt said, "Wow, he'd do an outstanding job." And so it's. I think we're in this business obviously to help people, and I don't think anybody would ever want to hinder or hurt anybody. And I think Matt obviously wants to help Tyson, although he's going to a school he's going to be playing. But I think ultimately you want to help people in this business, and you want the guys that have worked for you to be successful wherever they're going and whatever they're doing. And so Matt's that way, and so yeah, I mean he's that kind of guy. I mean he wants to help his guys, he wants to help his players and his coaches, and it just all worked out, and for us to get him.
With 3 games left that you can control, bowl eligibility is right in front of you. Like, how's the morale between the players and the coaches right now with that goal right in front of you?
Yeah, no, it's obviously we all know that. You have to still you're playing your opponent. Like last week it was West Virginia, and you have this week it's Iowa State. We know we got to go on the road the next couple of weeks, and we got one more home game. So it's a lot of tough teams ahead. We know that. You take it one game at a time, and you try to figure out a way where we can just try to go win this game. I mean it's obviously it's there, it's dangling, it's the elephant in the room right there, and you'd love to be able to already have that, as you're playing these games, because it kind of frees you up. But still, you go play these games one at a time, and you just have to do your best against Iowa State. And that's all we can think about, and then hopefully the results are good enough to make that happen.
Any thoughts of using Mason Fletcher as a gunner? Yeah, after that big hit, I just kind of joked with him yesterday about that, and he's, I don't know why anybody thinks that I can't tackle. I grew up, that's all I used to do was tackle with no pads on, so I'm used to tackling. So he was excited about it. He said when I saw him coming, although we don't want that because we want to be able to tackle him way down there, but he said when he saw him coming, he's like, oh yeah, he was excited about, he said I was not going to just push him out of bounds. I was going to try to hit him hard, and so he did, and the guys, kind of give him a good hard time about it, but yeah, that was a great tackle by him, and hopefully he doesn't have to do that anymore.
On the 2 go balls that West Virginia hit down the sideline, was there anything to that, or just 2 guys the quarterback made a great throw?
Great throws. I mean, so on those 2 plays, we actually brought some pressure, trying to mix it up a little bit on 3rd down, try to bring some pressure. They max protected, and they had the one-on-one matchup on the outside. I mean, those 2 different corners that they ended up hitting them on, and I thought it was great throws. I mean, I thought he dropped those in. I thought he had some errant throws, maybe in the flats and stuff, but I thought those were 2 great throws. The receiver didn't have to break stride, and our defenders are right on their hip, but he just dropped it right in. I mean, those 2 great throws that happened to be the 2 biggest plays we gave up, and we held them to 248 yards, and that was probably 70 or 80 yards of it right there. Yeah. So I thought it was great execution. Obviously, we like to stay on top. If you're in that coverage, you want to stay on top of the receiver. But we got on the back hip of them, and they made 2 great throws. And obviously, we got to try to do better to knock it down. But I do think at some point, if it's like that, you got to give credit to the guys that make them throw.
Any other questions for Coach? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.